Right, we're going to do a classic dish. This is an everyday dish here in Sweden. I wish I'd have known about it longer because it's the kind of food that I absolutely love. It's called Pytt I Panna, which means small pieces. But the thing I love about it is it's a great way of making tasty, delicious food that we all love that basically uses up leftovers and is delicious. So I've got some smoked bacon, I've got some elk salami, which is pretty normal out here. You could use another salami at home if you wanted to. I've got some smoked sausage here. These are all everyday things. And then leftover meat. You could use, roast lamb, boiled lamb, but this is a bit of brisket and literally it pulls apart. I'm gonna cut that up in a second. So first things first, I've got the lovely pork here. I'm gonna slice it about 1 centimetre thick. Probably one nice slice will probably be enough. Let's do 2 for love. This is kind of like a saute, really. And it's the kind of thing on a Monday, Tuesday, after the roast dinner on a Sunday in England, I would love to do, right? So I'm going to slice this up into sort of chunky lardons. This is sort of my version of a Pytt I Panna, right? Everyone's going to have their own version. What seems to be the consistent thing is there's always some form of leftover meat. There's always diced potatoes and onions. And then, I've spoken to some chefs and they put like parsnips in it, celeriac in it, stuff that's kind of about. Some sort of mums say, whatever's in the fridge. So, it's good, hearty, common sense food that embraces leftovers, basically. So I've got this salami here. Just take off the skin. So I'm going to start dicing now. And dicing sort of seems to be what people do. I haven't put any oil in that pan, so we're naturally sort of rendering. So keep that moving around, we don't want it catching. Onion. I'm going to do 2 small onions. Don't get worked up about it, but we're kind of thinking 1 centimetre dice. So straight in there. Already, it's starting to make me feel happy. What I'm going to do is I've got leftover meat here. And so often, even if you take care of meat, the next day in the fridge, it kind of looks a bit depressing. This is cheap, this is brisket. It's a cheap cut of meat, But if it was a leg of lamb, leftover roast pork, this kind of philosophy, I think, of this dish that the Swedes do can sort of embrace, just about any leftovers. I love that. Have a little stir about. It's nice to have a nice large pan to do this. Right. I was talking to a couple of chefs and stuff, and they were saying, really, you can put carrots in. I haven't got parsnips, but he was saying that he puts parsnips in his. I'm just going to half it, quarter it, dice it again. Add the carrots, keep stirring it, baby. Already it's beautiful colours, man. So potatoes, centimetre dice. Look at that. You can't, it's just an exciting dish to cook, really. Now, they always have some pickled veggies, right? We've got some lovely little gherkins or cucumbers or whatever you want to call them. So we've got that. And I'm going to do a little dressing. We get some good mustard, and mustard's a really important part of this. What I love about the kind of Swedish cooking is their kind of use of like heat, like horseradish, mustards, it's really important. Also their use of pickles, that acidity to kind of go with the lovely oily fish or, the lovely meats and stuff. So a little bit of mustard goes in, just like a teaspoon. Got some lovely cider vinegar. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of vinegar. About 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Put the lid on. So we're making a basic dressing here, yeah? I think the Swedes, they're really convincing about their use of herbs, yeah? So the herbs I'm picking up on, the lovely dill flowers here, which pack a hell of a punch. And then you've got the dill leaves, which are lovely and delicate. And then chives. So I'm going to rip off some of that. And then some parsley. And just finely slice. So I'm going to put a little bit to the side. And I'm going to put the rest of this stuff here in the dressing. Happy with that dish now. And you see that's as dark as I want it. I'm just going to pour in a little bit of this dressing, and it's going to stop the frying. Just that tiny bit is just going to give it a little bit of acidity to go with all that lovely rich meat. Plate it up. There you go. So I'm going to just take the top of the egg. I'm using a quail egg just because they're kind of delicate. And it's not a chefy thing. You can get quail eggs in just about all supermarkets now. And the idea is you toss it all up, right? And it enriches the whole dish. And the residual heat of what you've cooked cooks the egg, right? Going to sprinkle it with some of those lovely herbs and stuff like that. Get me pickled veg out. And just load up a nice little plate. And honestly, tell you what, if I went to a pub and they had that, get me knife and fork, gherkins, pint of beer, and this hash. Brilliant. And the idea is the egg yolk isn't to sit there being sort of like raw egg, right? It's all hot on that plate. So you use, you know, an egg's cook at a really low temperature. So you get your knife and fork and you just sort of pop that egg yolk and you just mix it up. And you fold it around, you make a mess. Get your cucumber. You sit here and you eat it. Great comfort food dish. You know, we've seen a lot of really elegant, delicate Swedish food on this trip. But the fact that they've kind of got lovely, frumpy comfort food like this makes me think that it's all balanced. You know what I mean? They got everything in this sort of food. Oh, so good. It sort of reminds me of all the nice bits of an English breakfast. You know what I mean? The egg, bacon, potatoes. But it's just brilliant.